What's going on, everybody? I'm Justin Thomas. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. If you want to support creativity, the link for my Patreon is in the information below. We're going to jump right into this one. This will be a short history of the trailer, in an ongoing series of the evolution of the trailer, in which we will break down not only classic films, but some of the new top-tier trailers that are coming out today. When looking at the evolution of the trailer, more than anything, more than even technological advances in film, it's important to take note of the way in which we watch trailers. From watching at the cinema, to watching on our television sets, to watching on our phone screens, computer screens, tablets, it doesn't matter. On Twitter and Instagram, we now get alerts about trailers for trailers, promotions for promotions, ads for ads, on a platform, nonetheless, that not too long ago we thought might kill the advertisement and give us a flawless stream of content without those pesky ads that we used to try to avoid at every corner. Now we dissect those ads. We react. Advertisement, marketing tool, call it what you may, it's an art form. It's a beautiful art form. Not only an insight into the content that it's promoting, but an insight into who it's promoting it to more than anything. Star Wars taking a much more minimalistic approach lately. Movies like Dunkirk and Mad Max Fury Road, utilizing top-tier editing skills, and one of my personal favorites, staccato editing. We're looking at a new age of the trailer. We can't look at how far we've come if we don't know where it started. So this is the history of the movie trailer. Trailers are an advertising medium that, from their birth in 1913 to present day, have steadily grown into an art form that, arguably in many cases, are more popular than the very film they are promoting. This channel will be releasing a series of videos that will be taking an in-depth look into the evolution of the trailer, and breaking down not only the latest trailers, but classic film trailers as well. So in anticipation of this new series, I give you a condensed history of the movie trailer. The first trailer appeared in 1913 when the advertising manager for Marcus Lowe's Theaters showed a short promotional film for an upcoming Broadway show titled Pleasure Seekers. I know it sounds filthy, right? Well, it's not. But it's worth noting the first trailer wasn't for an actual film. Obviously, a Broadway production is shown on Broadway and not a cinema. It was instead showcasing actual rehearsal footage from the play. The idea of showing ads between the films was a hit, at least to the movie theater owners. When looking at the evolution of the trailer, important to understand the way in which we watched movies themselves. Unlike the multiplexes that you and I are used to today, the first movie theaters in 1910 only had one screen. You would usually just pay an admission around 5 cents, and you could sit in that theater for as long as you wanted. The showtimes weren't precise. Call it loose, call it casual, call it unorganized. I'm not here to question the business model of early 20th century movie theaters. There would be a feature-length movie along with short films throughout the day, and cartoons would play in a continuous loop, and you could just sit there and watch it as many times as you wanted. So in the beginning, it wasn't exactly what we'd recognize now as a movie trailer, but it was on the horizon. Before that was to happen, the theaters were more interested in keeping people in their seats and bringing people back to the theater, and it didn't focus on any specific film, but the idea of splicing and cutting together shorter films and promos. The process, first implemented by the Lowell Theater chain, was copied across the country, and around the same time, Chicago's Colonel William Seelig, one of film's earliest pioneers, would engineer another way to get the audiences back in the theater. You see, Seelig noticed the popularity of what was known as print serials featured in the newspapers, so he approached the Chicago Tribune, a newspaper that was embattled in a circulation war, to see who could adapt the most sensational film version of a print serial. This resulted in a 13-episode serial entitled The Adventures of Kathleen. The audience got a new installment every week, which would coincide with an article in the Chicago Tribune that continued that very story. What made The Adventures of Kathleen different was, at the end of each installment, something would happen to put the characters in some sort of peril, a cliffhanger as we would know it now, with a title card inviting the viewers to come back the following week to see what happened. But by 1916, movie studios caught on and began officially releasing trailers for upcoming movies. Now, these first film trailers were pretty basic. They generally consisted of snippets of films with some text overlays such as the cast of stars, but nonetheless, the idea did catch fire in the industry, and studios began creating trailers for all of their upcoming films. Trailers were originally shown after the feature, hence the name trailer, the film being the driving force with the trailer to follow behind. But But after shifting the timing around a bit, the medium became a hugely successful marketing tool. But there was very little money in the trailer making business. It took a group of clever businessmen to figure out a way of making money off the nickel and dimed work of trailers. But doing this, they created a company that would hold a virtual monopoly over movie trailers and promotional items for nearly 4 decades. It's important to realize that a Hollywood studio's power lies solely in its ability to get movies it makes to a paying audience. So in an era before the internet or even reliable phone service, coast-to-coast distributing movies and promoting them with trailers and posters was a logistical nightmare, one that the major studios were happy to outsource to a company called the National Screen Service, or the NSS. This was started in 1919 by Herman Roberts. The NSS opened an office in New York City that took movie stills, spliced in titles, and turned around and sold those trailers to movie theaters directly. They didn't get permission from the studios, and it didn't seem to bother the filmmakers at this time. Quite the opposite. Many studios happily signed deals to submit their films to the NSS to be made in the trailers. The NSS ran the trailer business pretty much unopposed until around the 1970s. The tide started slowly turning away from the cookie cutter style trailer of the NSS, and as the film theaters turned more toward multiplex with multiple screens in the 70s with less space for movie poster advertising, the monopolistic grasp of the NSS began to crumble, and movie studios and production companies reasserted a control over the promotion. The movie business landscape had completely changed from the studio-controlled golden era of Hollywood. One of the key turning points in their strategy came in 1975 with the release of Jaws. If you were watching TV in the summer of 1975, you most likely saw the trailer for Jaws. This was the first successful film to see a wide release. See, prior to this, movies would premiere in a few big cities and then roll out to smaller markets over the coming weeks and months, but Jaws opened up big.
Today, who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless, eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him.
In 464 theaters on June 25th of 1975, expanding to 675 theaters a month later, the largest simultaneous distribution of a film in motion picture history at the time. The idea of a wide release was to get the most bang out of advertising. Unprecedented $700,000 into television advertising alone, saturating the airwaves with the now infamous John Williams score. And the gamble paid out. Jaws saw a huge opening box office number, $7 million in the first weekend alone, an ultimate run of $470 million worldwide. The blockbuster strategy was born, and at the heart was the movie trailer. Movie trailers have evolved from the classic NSS format, which went from pushing the idea of a movie-going experience in general to promoting the actual stars of the movie and promoting the actual story, to then turning directors into stars themselves. This was known as the auteurs era. In classic Hollywood fashion, auteur is just French for author. The 1960s, a new generation of star directors began to redefine the trailer. Amongst them was the legendary Alfred Hitchcock. Instead of showing scenes from the movie, Hitchcock, who had become quite well known to audiences from his TV series, using his gallows humor style in this trailer from 1960's Psycho. The re-emergence of cubism in film and commercial art in the 1960s was not lost on another emerging filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick, having experimented with fragmented cutting styles in the trailer. Kubrick's 1960...
Russia. Oh. Base.
10 females to each male.
Coca-Cola machine.
Fluids.
The Doomsday Machine.
Blast off!
Where's my shorts?
For Dr. Strangelove, a trailer which in my opinion is still one of the most abstract, unconventional pieces of movie advertising ever made. What we see today is essentially a mix of all of this, with the modern market being dictated by the fast-paced information age, where the internet, which is ironically the very platform which not so long ago was believed would be the death of advertisement, providing us with endless possibilities uninterrupted by these pesky ads. We have the exact opposite, especially with platforms like YouTube providing studios with instant global distribution. A movie trailer is almost as important as the piece of art itself, with boutique editing houses in Hollywood focusing solely on crafting the perfect piece of movie advertising in a world with increasing competition, all competing for the limited resources of your time and your money. The role of the trailer as a breathtaking representative of a film, easily consumed as a preview before a main attraction.
When I found you, I saw raw that. Something truly special.
Perfect piece of movie advertising in a world with increasing competition, all competing for the limited resources of your time and your money. The role of the trailer as a breathtaking representative of a film, easily consumed as a preview before a main attraction, or easily shareable content on social media, has never been so important. Editing styles themselves have developed dramatically in recent years. Staccato cutting, which is the manipulating of the speed of the film to match the music, is one of the latest trends and techniques, one of my personal favorites, which can be found in trailers for Dunkirk, Mad Max Fury Road, leaving trailers in the past that served up a type of Cliff Notes versions of a movie they're selling. Fans don't just watch trailers now, they break them down, they analyze them, they post reaction videos, and in some cases, and not rare enough cases in my opinions, there are actually reactions to reactions. So you have a reaction of an advertisement to a reaction of an advertisement, and this was the platform that we thought would rid us of ads. Alongside this, we even have some that create a shot-for-shot duplicate using cardboard sets. Quite creative to say the least. Hollywood is paying attention, because today we just don't get trailers. We get TV spots, commercials, featurettes, social media posts teasing a trailer for a movie that's a year away. There's no stopping it, and it's everywhere, which is exactly why the evolution continues, and platforms like YouTube showcase how much the trailers change according to the medium in which they are consumed.
Daddy needs to express some rage.
Let's go give it to you. Motherfucker! Let's go deliver to you. Damn right.
And here we go.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.